dream of buying your own house feels more and more impossible, and I think that's how a large majority of us are feeling right now. But I'm not giving up, and neither should you.
Hey, I'm Abby, and these are my mid-20s. Welcome to me trying to navigate life. Recently, I've been saving to buy a house.
Inflation and the cost of living feels like it has a chokehold on us all.
But it's not only that. We also have the Bill Gates of the world, those rich people who have these ridiculously extensive property portfolios, and they're just driven by this incredible greed that is blocking us, the working class, from being able to access our own piece of the world. It's being said more and more that the only way to break into the property market, especially in hotspot areas like big capital cities, is only possible through inheritance. But that's just the problem. Most people don't actually get an inheritance. So what are we to do?
We really need to outsmart the system that makes it so impossible. That's what I'm doing, and I'm gonna walk you through my process in this video. So first, I'm gonna give you an overview of my own money story. We're gonna go through realistic goal setting, some saving and budgeting tips that you might not have heard. I'm also gonna talk about the research and planning phase, and then we're gonna round everything off nicely with a little bit of motivation, because I really feel like the whole process can be pretty unmotivating at times. So I come from a pretty standard run-of-the-mill working class family. We didn't really talk about money that much, I guess, when I was growing up. My mum actually learned about budgeting and saving later on in life. So I used to watch her as a kid, like take cash out from the ATM and divide it into all these different containers. And so we'd have like a container for like our groceries, a container for the electricity bill, a container for fun stuff. Although we didn't talk about money, like I could see the way that my mum handled money, and I felt really inspired by her from a young age. I was always like, even as a kid, like really overly keen to make money. Like I used to make my grandma like have garage sales all the time with me. I used to sell like my Bratz and Barbie dolls in school. I also made my dad build me like the Taj Mahal of chicken coops, later to find out that I had a bird phobia. So he used to go take care of the chickens, gave me the eggs, and I would like resell the eggs for profit. I just always worked and hustled, which is like a really important part of my story. I started working when I was 13 at a local bakery. From having my first job in the bakery, my mum used to make me save 80% of my salary every single week. I guess even at that age, she kind of just inspired me to already start saving for my house. So yeah, I did. I saved 80% of my salary all throughout high school, really. I do have a little bit of a scarcity mindset with money. Like I haven't necessarily missed out on things in life because, you know, I've lived in Italy, I've lived in France, I've traveled a lot. I do like really prioritize saving, and I will skimp out on certain things when I can just to save some extra money. I do think having a good balance between saving money and enjoying life is really necessary because, you know, at the end of the day, you are planning for your future, but like fingers and toes and everything crossed that that future actually does come. So we've always got to remember in the present moment to enjoy our money even when we are saving towards these goals. So right now I am a full-time student. I'm also working full-time and like just always hustling full-time. If anything's resonated with you so far, then I guess you're in the same boat as me. And I think we really need to be, first off, setting really realistic goals when it comes to buying our house. Because like, although I would absolutely love to own a mansion on the water, I know that that's not at all feasible for my first property. And I think if you do set these unrealistic impossible goals, then the whole process does get really unmotivating and you just revert to spending money because you're like, well, I can't really see that goal in the future, you know? It's not attainable whatsoever, so I'm just gonna go and splash my cash. So setting the first realistic goal might mean that you won't necessarily be able to buy in the suburb that you're currently living and renting in. You might need to go regionally. It might involve purchasing a studio instead of a 3-bedroom family house. You've got to really realistically think, how am I gonna get in? What location? What size land? What can I actually afford to get into the market straight away? I'm not about to have a $1 million mortgage hanging over my head. That's an unrealistic and unachievable and even stress-inducing goal for me. So I am gonna lower my standards right down and I'll start there. I have a pretty low income as a full-time student, and since I run my own business, sometimes my salary is really variable. So I'm not able to just automate everything and allocate, okay, Abby, you're gonna put $500 every single week into savings, because actually some weeks I don't even know if I'm gonna earn $500. So for me, I've found that working in percentages is the best way for me to go. Every single bit of money that comes into my account, I save 30%. I put 20% towards my house savings and I put 10% towards travel. Even when you do have a low income, for example, and you're earning $500 a week, like it's really not a lot of money, but if you're allocating that money and starting with the I'm gonna save mindset, it won't really matter how much you earn. You've just got to start getting in the mindset of being like, I'm a saver. I save money from my salary every single paycheck. So I guess with that, you've got to find what works for you. If you've got a full-time job with $100,000 a year salary, maybe automating everything would work for you. But I think percentages wise on low incomes or variable incomes as a student, I've found has really been the best. First thing you need to do is create a budget. I just use the simple run-of-the-mill Google spreadsheets. I really like how I lay everything out. I have like categories like this for every single thing. At the end of every month, I like to work out exactly where my money's gone. So I know this much money has gone into housing, this much has gone into groceries, eating out. And then from there, I can look at all my expenses and refine them and see, okay, wow, I spent a little bit much on alcohol this month. What did I actually gain from spending that money? And you don't have to buy anything expensive. You can just do it as basic as what I do and just use Google spreadsheets. Like honestly, it's free. You can make these cute little pivot tables and everything looks pretty and organized and exactly how my type A brain needs it to be. Based on looking at your budget, you'll be able to look at that and go, all right, this is how much I'm earning, this is how much I'm saving, where am I putting that savings and how am I gonna make my money work for me? I always stick with the rule of not being able to purchase anything unless you have the cash for it. I mean, obviously when it comes to buying a house, I will be looking at getting a mortgage, but like I'm not about to go out and have a car loan hanging over my head. My mum always told me that you can't live in a car. Well, I mean you can, but we don't want to live in a car, right? So we should be paying for everything in cash and not having any unnecessary or personal debts. In this economy, we really do need to live like well under our means. And yeah, that looks like not going out for every weekend and getting cocktails with your friends or having the flashiest new car with heated seats. We're okay with a little 2001 runabout car, okay? In terms of bank accounts, I do have a couple of accounts. I have my everyday account and a couple of high interest savings accounts. I find it really useful to actually label your accounts, like everyday account, like house account, like travel account. So when you look at that house, like that account has something allocated to it. When I look at that account, I go, that's the amount of money that I have dedicated and organized into saving for my house. And I think being able to see your money in that way is a really good visual visual reminder of what you're working towards. And since I want to save for a house as soon as humanly possible, I'm not investing my money into shares, ETFs, crypto, the stock market. I'm keeping my money in liquid cash, ready to go when the time is right. You need to have a side hustle or a way that you can scale your income. For me, I do run my own English teaching business, which I guess is a bit of a side hustle. I also sell things on Facebook Marketplace, like I'll upsell them. Like if I see something that's free, I'll go and get it and like maybe clean it up and resell it and make a profit on it. I'm always selling old clothes. There are so many things that you can do right now. Like even if you just get some freelance work on the weekend or become an English teacher, tutor someone, teach someone a skill that you already know how to do, sell stuff. It's really important for me that I have a means to be able to transfer money internationally, especially with my side hustle as English second language teaching. And I use TransferWise. They have the best rates. The interface is really easy to use and it's really easy to track exactly where your money is going. So if you're looking for a reliable way to transfer money internationally, I've left a link down below in my description. We both get a kickback for that. So check it out. I think it's really important to have conversations like what we're having right now. Like I think we need to talk to people about money and put everything out in the open. I feel like money has been such a taboo topic for such a long time and I don't understand why, because talking about money with people is so inspiring and you can just learn so much. So I think that like having open and honest conversations with your partner, your potential partner, your friends, your parents, your grandparents, like I've even asked my nan, like, do you regret anything about your life in terms of money? And just like opening up and having conversations about how people have started their own business, what savings accounts they have, how much they think they need to buy a house. Like, let's put everything on the table and have conversations like that. I think it's so inspiring and motivating. I guess also on that, like, is reading and educating yourself about money. I think that like you can't just go in blinded, like you kind of need to know something, and I think watching this video is an awesome step in the right direction. So I guess my biggest recommendations for reading and immersing yourself in this big world with so many fish in the sea, that's the internet really, isn't it? I definitely recommend She's on the Money podcast, Big Deal podcast, The Graham Stephan Show, which is on YouTube, How to Get Rich book, also signing up to the email list of the real estate websites and companies that are in your area. Like in Australia, we have realestate.com. So I'm signed up to their newsletter and I get like lots of different emails and articles and reports about the Australian property market. So it allows me to kind of like be in the know and like know what's going on within the space. All right, let's move on to the research and planning stage, which is honestly like my favorite stage. I love looking at different properties in different areas and seeing what's actually available and in my price range. Being able to see the tangible property that you will potentially be able to buy makes the short-term sacrifices that you're making that much more bearable. Then when you're looking at properties, you'll be able to see what you can actually get with your money. And there you might go, okay, well, I need to rethink my goal here. I'm not gonna be able to buy my first property on Bondi Beach. It's just not feasible. And then you can like rethink and really work out what's gonna work for you and how you can get in as soon as possible. You definitely need to check out what incentives your government is offering for first home buyers, because there are so many. Then from there, you'll know how much of a deposit you'll need. So a lot of the time it's 20%, but I know in a lot of states around Australia, if you're a first home buyer occupier, then you only need as low as I think 5% deposit. Then when you've got like a nice chunk of money together, you'll be able to go and speak to a mortgage broker broker, which will allow you to see how much borrowing power you actually have. So kind of what will be left to do is settle, but I guess we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Short-term pain for long-term gain has been my motto throughout this whole process. You might have to go without in the short term and see people in your life going out for brunch every weekend, going for drinks, buying new clothes, having amazing travel experiences. While you can't do those right now, it will put you in a better position in the future to be able to enjoy all of those things, and hopefully to an even better standard. If anything you've heard from me has resonated with you some way and you want to follow along on my property buying journey, please subscribe to my channel, because I'm just gonna lay the cards on the table throughout this whole process. So please follow me, and I so look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, good luck.